Hi there. Welcome to another edition of Making a Difference. This is the broadcast designed to help build wealth, create freedom, and ultimately make a difference. That's the objective, to give you the necessary financial insight that's going to help establish your financial destiny. We're going to give you all the tools, the tips, and techniques that you need to improve and position yourself for your future so that you can have the future that you desire to have, that you can become the master of your own destiny. I've got a couple of guests with me to help make this broadcast even more exciting. We represent the NPG, the New Power Generation. And yes, there's a story behind that. We'll have someone to share that with you momentarily. But of course, the whole idea is to bring a certain level of financial literacy to you. We make it plain and simple where you'll understand, and then you can begin to utilize the insight and the information that we're sharing on this broadcast to help make a difference in your financial future as well as those that you love. Now, according to the scriptures, and you know I'm one that represents a lot of biblical insight, and one of which one of my favorite types of verses in the Bible talks about how that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. And so I kind of flipped and reversed it and said, not only does a good man leave an inheritance, a good man leaves an inheritance and not an invoice. So you want people to be excited, not only that you lived, but that you left a legacy. So to help me talk through a lot of the terminologies and the ideas that we have, we want to share with you on today's broadcast. I've got two guests with me, two very special people with me. I've got John Paul. JP is with me, and again, the John Paul Toth. Along with him is Chris Lopez. Now, Chris is the actual founder of this business, and I'm telling you, I'm super excited to have him to be a part of the broadcast. If we can get him in, I'm having a little bit of a technical fault there. Well, we got four people now, so 4 spots and 3 people. So we'll work that out some sort of way where we'll all, yeah. Okay, so Chris, let's start with you and
Yeah.
say how great it is to have you to be a part of the broadcast today,
Oh,
and
thank you.
share with us some of the insight that has helped you to begin something that
Mhm.
now we probably known each other for longer than we know that we've known each other, since I
Yeah.
was a part of A.L. Williams back in the
Yeah.
1980s, and
Yeah.
I was very excited to be a part of that team and the work that they were doing, buy in term and invest the difference. Let me ask
Mhm.
you, before we go in a little deeper, tell us about your involvement and how NPG came to be.
Well, to make a very, very long story short, uh, what occurred is I joined a crusade. I had 3 full-time jobs. I was with the Huntington Park Police Department. I taught music with Bell Gardens High School, and I was a Disney Imagineer. And things occurred that turned me into a crusader, not knowing I was a crusader against the life insurance industry. And a gentleman named Art Williams came into my life because he heard I was a fighter. And he met me at Disney. We talked. Next thing I know, I'm in A.L. Williams, and he all he said is sick 'em,
Sikkim.
because of what the industry was doing to people. And when he said, "Look, I'm going to give you a company. Your job is to take on an industry," I said, "Yes, sir. Let's go get him." And that's what we did. A New Power Generation, we were a company within a company in 1983. That's how Art had A.L. Williams,
Mhm.
companies within companies. And so my company, New Power Generation, took off, then PG Crusaders. And we built to what is now known, everybody out there knows, a company called Primerica.
Mhm.
But once again, we went from A.L. Williams, we went to Primerica Financial Services. We were part of Citigroup. Now Primerica is on its own. And because I wanted to make sure the crusade remained the crusade, where the life insurance industry is going to be held accountable for what it is that they're doing to the American public out there, and to bring it even further, teach people financial literacy, get them to be involved in their own life, get them
Mhm.
to take control. know that there's someone somewhere that's going to guide them without them having to pay some unbelievable price, because that is why people don't get help, because of the prices people charge. I created a company where no one pays a penny to be a crusader. Nobody has to do anything but spend the time on educating themselves to make their life a better one, a more positive outlook. And if they want to grow a company within a company, they can do it here without any type of financial risk. Nobody has to go full time and lose their job. That we're all part time. So this way we could build a company without risking any type of financial hardship to grow a company. And this is why most companies fail.
Hmm.
So, New Power Generation is a company designed to bring power to a new generation.
I
That's
like it.
our and that's the baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, the millennials. The fact is, as more people are growing in this country, the more opportunity there is because no one else cares about middle America. And that's why we're here.
Well, that's a strong statement. No one else cares about
No
middle
one else
America.
cares.
That's a strong statement. And one of the reason I was saying that we probably knew each other before we realized that we probably knew each other is because I
Yep,
was a part of A.L. Williams back in the 80s, and I
yep,
fully bought into the idea of buy term and invest the difference because it just made sense to me. Why not give us the power to do the very same things that the
yep.
insurance companies are doing for themselves? Why not we do it for ourselves? We can get the same coverage, we can have the same protection, and reap
Yep,
the same rewards for ourselves. But
that's
but for, before we go deeper into the discussion, I want to also bring on John Paul. We call him JP. JP John Paul Toth. I call him one of your senseis or one of your
right.
he's definitely a role model for myself as well as yourself in this crusade. And I love the idea that it's a crusade because I'm a pastor as well, and
Mhm.
all pastors are on crusades. We are all about
Yeah.
bringing truth and revelation and understanding to the
Mhm.
masses so that they can
Yep.
benefit thereby. John Paul, JP, say hello to the people. Oh, let's get your mic open so that you can say hello. Let's see if that works for us. How about now?
Well, good morning, good afternoon. I guess it's afternoon now. But we have an opportunity where we can make a difference in people's lives by just making a difference, and I think that's the important part of who we are as a company. So as we talk about helping people, our goal is always to do the right thing for the families, but by making a difference in their life. And I think
Hmm.
that's why we stand behind the principles of what we do.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it's not just business. We're not just talking about we're in the business of doing business. We're in the business of empowering, educating, because as I say all the time, your mindset affects your assets. Even again, scripture talks about how my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So information brings manifestation. If you want to improve your financial standing, your financial legging, you have to be educated. You have to get to a place where you can understand how finances work. Now, our area of expertise, I would say, is of course in buying term, and utilizing financial instruments that will yield the sort of return that will empower us, given the fact that we do them at a timely manner, that it will give us the power to retire ourselves. What do you say about that, Chris?
Well, I see the way you're wording things, and that's because you're not a registered representative. So good job. And excuse me, but I'm still fighting the flu. But folks, listen, buy term and invest the difference. Middle America needs to take control of their lives by investing in mutual funds. Period. End of story. You should not be doing anything else but investing in mutual funds. If you don't make more than $150,000 a year, you should be having mutual funds. I want you to understand this. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to teach you financial concepts that have really stood the test of time. The fact here is that when we help you save money, we help you make money. A penny saved is a penny earned. So if I'm earning that penny by saving it and I reinvest it in a mutual fund, a quality mutual fund, over, let's say, the period of 20 years, I am now self insured. And the best thing you can do being self insured is making sure that that self insured money that's there is there whether you live or die. You shouldn't have to die for your family to be financially secure. I think that's a losing proposition. I don't know how you feel, but death really sounds like it's a bad thing for me. Okay?
It's
So
definitely
if
not
I want to
exciting.
actually enjoy my time, right? I'm going
Mhm.
to have money there so I could, well, I don't know, enjoy my time and retire. So
Right.
saving the money and then repositioning it to invest it and
Mhm.
then learning how money works and start learning what a budget is and working a budget so I can now spend more of that those funds I just throw away doing unnecessary things and pay myself first. This way I can retire in dignity. And
Mhm.
I don't like getting into the how much money do I need because, folks, we all have a different figure. It's called a financial independence number, a FIN, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
But you need to know what your number is, and you need to have a professional sit down with you and figure that out.
Mhm. And so I love the mission. Again, it's all about financial literacy.
Mm-hmm,
But at the very base of it is, again, I think it's easy. It's just easy to understand that if I can get the same protection
mm-hmm,
in the event of my death,
mm-hmm,
and then turn around and get the same benefit in the event that I live,
mm-hmm.
I've never understood life insurance being called life insurance when it only pays if you die. It's like
Yes.
so that it never made sense to me.
And it's not death protection because it doesn't protect you from dying either.
That part
So
too.
this idea people says, well, it's really death protection. No, it's not. It does
Mhm.
not protect you from dying.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
What
that's
you're
what.
buying is financial stability for your family. That's what you're purchasing.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Well, again, coming from where I'm from, anytime we talk about insurance, it's always relegated to when I die, and it's
Mm-hmm,
something that is almost it's. I know it's not designed to be an investment instrument, but in a lot of communities, that's what it is in a way to ensure that. As I always say, when I die, I don't leave an invoice. That I have something that I can leave behind.
exactly. And if you buy a policy and there's something wrong with that policy, when do you find out?
After you're gone, and you don't really find out.
Right?
It's the
You
ones that
don't.
left behind.
You don't find out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the point.
Well,
And
let
the
me give Chris.
person who didn't buy it, right?
Uh-huh.
They don't have a leg to stand on because they didn't buy it.
That part, brother
Mm-hmm.
Chris. Let me
Yeah,
give JP a
sure.
chance to chime in. He's been doing this for a number of years, and what's your take on this, John Paul?
Well, I totally agree with what Chris is saying because he is my mentor, first of all, and I've been believing in buy term invested difference for 22 years. You know, you can't be planning on dying if you have life insurance. You have to plan to retire. Life insurance is only to take care of everyone else in the event you do pass away too soon. It's not built for the purpose of your life. It's built to protect the income that's lost in the event you die too soon.
Yeah,
That's what it's for. And you build wealth, like Chris is explaining, in a mutual fund so that you can retire. So whenever you have enough money built up, you can cancel that life insurance policy because you don't need it because you're self-insured, which I think has been the philosophy since I've started 22 years ago.
people. Again, we're talking about the average Joe. Most of us think of insurance again as something that's necessary for when we die, not anticipating that we could actually benefit from living. We're all planning to die, but you speak a lot, Chris, about the mutual funds. Can you give us a kind of 30,000 foot flyover as to what does that entail for the average person?
Well, for the average person, they're sold a bill of goods. I'll just put it that way. You watch Fox Business News, all these other things that are out there. These people who say, buy this, buy that. This crazy guy, I don't want to get sued, but who turns around and says, bing, ding, 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 do this and do it, and all that. And then a month later, you found out how wrong he is, right? And so I like to get people to understand that a mutual fund is designed by law to have a minimum of 20 different stocks, bonds, or cash derivative in its portfolio. So with a minimum of a maximum of 5% on any holding. That's why 20. So if you buy a mutual fund for $10 and there's 20 different positions, how much did that cost you?
$100. Well,
No. You see? I just told you you bought it for $10. Didn't I just say that?
and 20 positions.
Yes. How much does it cost you?
$10 per position.
No. That's right. That's why I notice how
Ah,
people's brain just turned off because they're used to being sold per stock, per bond, right? No. I just explained to you. Every mutual fund has a minimum of 20 different positions in it. So if you buy a mutual fund for $10, you have 20 different positions that you
for
paid how much
$10.
for?
$10.
$10. You know how easy this is, right? Okay.
Easy.
So $10 bought you 20 positions. And in these positions, let's XYZ, ABC, GFA companies. And one's going to go up, one's going to go down. That's the daily influx of this actual mutual fund. And because somebody has put it together, a financial professional has put it together and created this, we already know what the ups and downs, the flexibility, if it's going to be aggressive, moderate income growth, or if it's a bond or a cash derivative. This thing is going to average something over a period of time. So let's just say our guesstimate with a prospectus is it's going to do 5%. That's the goal. The prospectus is shown, the prospectus will explain. Every mutual fund is sold with a prospectus.
Right.
So this way you are informed of what it is doing, how it's doing, what the performance is planned to be, how much you are paying, the operating costs of that investment. Notice how a mutual fund is designed to give you all of the answers to the questions you should be asking. And that's what the prospectus is. So don't you feel you're more empowered to know what it is you bought when you buy a mutual fund?
It makes sense to me.
Of course you are, right? And a financial professional, a licensed person to sell it, does so by offering the prospectus and showing you the insights of that fund. So by law, we have to show you this. So doesn't that add another layer of protection to your investment, your true investment?
Hmm. Yeah.
So with that being said, so since you paid $10, and if you selected, let's just say, because we're doing a quick flyover, an aggressive fund, it's going to fluctuate up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, when you're young, you could do this fluctuation because money, believe it or not, takes twice as long to come back than it does to lose. Okay?
Hmm.
So if you're doing this, well, you better be young enough for it to come back. But as you get older, it shouldn't fluctuate as more. So by the time you're around your 50s, you should be moving into something that's doing something like this, right? And then by the time you're getting close to retire, it should all be pure income, which does this. And yes, there are funds that do this. They're not sexy. They're not, oh my God, I'm making 30%. It is keeping your money stable while paying you a dividend every month. So therefore, you know how much you're going to get every month from that investment. That's how you invest wisely and know what it is your target should be and know what it is you're going to be getting at the end of that time. That's why buying term, investing the difference in mutual funds allows you a bigger prospect of knowing your retirement plan will work. How many people out there know this? How many people out there are showing this? And why? Why aren't people talking about this? And my answer to you is because there's no money in it. There's no money in helping people. There's money in selling stuff. There's money in marketing stuff. There in advertising, which, by the way, all that money comes from the product you're buying. But there's no money in
Mm.
teaching people to be financially literate. So that's why nobody knows about this. This
That
is what we do.
so the you've spoken rather unfavorably concerning the established protection.
Exactly. I told you I'm a crusader. I don't care if they like me. They've sued me plenty of times. Let's go for it. But the facts are the facts, and the truth is the truth.
Yeah, that cannot be changed.
That
Um,
can never be changed. Exactly.
because, but the point I was getting at though is that one of the things that I recognize through my studies is how that insurance, as you're getting older, it makes it more necessary that you have some sort of instrument in place to kind of counteract the rising cost of insurance. That because the older you get, the more expensive the insurance coverage becomes.
And why is that?
And why is that?
Huh? Why is that?
Answering the question with a question. Why is that?
Yeah. You see? Because it's more likelihood you will die.
Hmm.
So as you get older, the likelihood of your death grows, the risk grows.
Right.
So when you get term insurance, that risk is balanced out over a number of years, the term, which allows it to be lower, saving you money to reinvest somewhere else. So this way you could be self-insured. When look, when you turn 63, what good is a 500,000 life insurance policy versus $500,000 of a mutual fund investment that's paying you somewhere around $3,000 to $4,000 a month every month for the rest of your life? I'm sorry, but when you go to Publix or Safeway or wherever you are in the country to buy groceries, you need money, not a policy, right?
Hmm. That's last I checked. Last time I went to Publix, they asked for money.
Exactly. And the only way that happens if you have an instrument doing that. That's why we tell people self-insure. So when you're self-insured and you have this money put away, even if it's $250,000 and it's put away in a separate investment, and now you're no longer paying for the insurance, then we just free up money because you no longer have to pay for the insurance.
Right. Yeah.
That's one trip of groceries, right?
Hmm.
And then the 250,000, let's say, is paying you $1,000 a month. Well, then we just take care of your groceries for the month.
Yep.
That's what we do, folks. That is what we do.
And that's what makes it so vitally important to everyone watching that you
Mm-hmm.
investigate these opportunities so that you can know what you're getting into.
Exactly.
JP, you talk a lot about these matching funds that people get when they're we were under the idea that if we're part of a corporation and they are sharing in our funding into our 401ks, that was
Mm-hmm.
somehow a wonderful thing for them to do for us as an employer to pay into our retirement, not realizing some of the tax consequences that the employer is avoiding while passing it on to you as the employee.
Well, the thing is remember the employer's built to do a job, and that's to run their company, and then to also they have to also pay attention to their bottom line. So what's a better way to lower their bottom line than to help their employees? And unfortunately, we don't get taught the whole picture of how that affects everybody. So we don't really look at it that way because we're short-term thinkers. But if someone's going to do this for 20 or 30 years in a 401k, they should understand the financial tax ramifications that could have against them when they go to retire. But most middle class families that we help, they don't think that far in advance. They're living for today.
Yeah. Well,
That's why buying term and invest the difference is important for a 30-year period. It's not for a 10-year window, it's for a time period.
mhm. And what do
So
you
those plans work.
when you're talking about time periods, and you mentioned term versus, I guess, permanent life insurance. One is for a term, a period of term time. The other is matures. If I'm understanding correctly, my studies, it matures at 100 years of age. So you get the whole cash value, and the policy matures at the age of 100. Now, because Chris mentioned earlier that if there were a mutual fund that you could pay $10 into and have 20 positions within that mutual fund, why isn't it more popular that people are just simply doing like you're saying, just buy term and get a mutual fund?
Because there's no money in buying a $10 mutual fund. There's no money in
Okay.
that.
All right. Okay. Listen, listen. And no disrespect, John, but I like getting people to understand something. When John says there's no money in it, he means for the person selling it.
Right.
Okay. The person buying that $10 mutual fund is buying a mutual fund. They have a share. It belongs to them. No one could ever take it away. Okay. And that mutual fund, depending on what it is, will do something for the person who bought it. Fair enough? It'll
Right.
do something. It
Yeah,
depends
that
on
makes
what
sense.
it is you got, right? So
Yes.
so this idea of there's no money in it is the person selling it. Their perspective is that there's no money in me selling you this mutual fund.
Yeah, no
And the
incentive.
reason there isn't is because it pays so low that I'd rather sell you something else. Okay. And we can't be specific because we don't have perspectives to get out there to show the general public. So I'm making sure you understand the overall view without getting into the specific of a certain fund, but they all do something. Now, why don't people know this? Well, why don't they select this? Why don't they choose this? Because people don't go to school to learn anything about finances. They learn math, but they don't learn about finances. They should teach them, but they don't.
They do.
So what occurs is that now they're sitting across the table from someone or inside their living room from someone who's been trained to sell them something so they could make the mass profit called a commission. And you have not been trained to say no or know the facts. So who's going to win that?
Every
The
time.
person who's
This,
been trained, right?
yep.
And that's why this works. And so you don't feel so bad about that decision. You are going to back up that decision. Oh, no, no, this is the best thing, blah, blah, blah. This is the best. Until somebody comes in and shows you, hey, 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 there's $250 a month you're paying for. I could have done for about $40 a month. And then the 210, I could go ahead and using some of this other saved money we're going to have on this unnecessary spending, we're going to get $400 a month now, and we're going to put it into this mutual fund. And because you're right now, you're 29 for the next 30 years when you turn 59 and a half, okay, you're going to put the difference into this. And this way, you're going to have about $292,000 with an average, excuse me, APR, excuse me, of about 4.25%. That's about the average of an income mutual fund without it's giving you all the stuff, just the average of it, income mutual fund, about 4.25%. So you're outpaced inflation. You've actually got $292,000 now that you can now withdraw money from tax free because you are now past 59 and a half. You put that money into something called a Roth IRA. Now, this is going to generate about $1,100 to $1,200 a month every month without affecting your Social Security because you still had a job. So now you can collect Social Security and collect your Roth IRA because it has no effect on that. So why don't they do that? Because they weren't ever told and shown because you were sold this other thing from this person and your job told you we have a 401k that we're going to share money 3%, 5, whatever it is, of what it is that you put in. So you do it for the free money. And over time of working there, you become vested, which means the money that they gave you over time, after let's say 5 years, is now something that belongs to you. Prior to that, it wasn't for you, but now it is. So now you've retired. 401k comes. And how do you get that money? Well, they're going to pay you monthly, what you're either going to agree to, or you're going to take a lump sum. You take a lump sum, that's income that has to be reported affecting your Social Security, or the monthly payment is also income, which is now affecting your Social Security because it has to be taxed. It is income taxed. So this is reported as income. So less Social Security, you get income taxed on that. So you actually make less money. So people don't know this, and it's not in your job's best interest to teach you this as well. Don't you realize when you do your 401k, you're doing it with an HR person, not a financial professional? There is no prospectus, and then they give you a little list of pick whatever you want. I'm sorry, but you're going to pick whatever you want, so they don't care about what it is you're picking. See, our goal is to be there and help you make these decisions.
Right.
Our goal is to teach people this and give them the opportunity to make a difference. And while we're making a difference, we're also making a difference in our own lives by making sure that the people around us will be able to retire financially independent and with financial dignity. That's what we do.
Making a difference while making a difference.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more to discuss, but I want to save for the rest of our broadcast that we're going to be doing because we want to definitely bring you guys back in and talk about this some more because again, some people call it the miseducation system because while you can spell your name and maybe count to 10, but you have no idea of how finance works, because it's not
Kids
part of,
don't even know how to balance a checkbook.
or for that matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if
Open
this
a checking
generation
account.
knows what a checkbook is.
That's
Is
what I'm
that
saying. Or open
like,
a checking account.
is
Yeah,
that Cash App? Is that the new checkbook?
exactly. Yeah. So what
So
happens when they have to figure out a budget?
you're right, that part,
Mm-hmm.
and so we'll talk about a little bit more about how to develop a budget, how to get a strategy, put together a strategy. You talked
Mm-hmm.
about earlier on your financial independence number. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go on. Uh, I want to thank you all for joining us. Listen,
Yep.
make sure that you click the like button because this is very valuable information. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, and then become a part of the crusade and share this video. Share the video with everyone you know. Say, hey, check this out. They're talking about something that perhaps I've never heard this before. And there's a reason why you've probably never heard it before. Because again, as they say, ignorance is bliss, but it's only to those that keep you ignorant. That's it. So
Yeah.
so again, Chris, if you can give them the website address and information how they can contact, I got the information in the description, but Go ahead and
Yeah.
tell
Well, it's www.newpowergeneration.us. And if you go on there, you'll see tons of information. We have videos, we have articles. It costs you nothing. Folks, it costs you nothing. All this information is free. Okay. So go on there, find out what topic you would like to see or read about. You can even download it. Okay.
me.
So get on there, get this information. And what I would also challenge all of you to do is share this with people, because one topic we will talk about is I would like to call it stop negative thinking, because
That's
that is what's keeping you
yeah.
from doing the best thing you can do for yourself. And also, I would like to talk about what keeps you from being amazing. Because everyone out there, folks, all of you have the opportunity to have an amazing life. I think you need to know what keeps you from having that amazing life. And
That's
hopefully, we talk about that soon.
absolutely, that is part and parcel of who I am. I
Yeah,
say it all the time that your mindset affects your asset, because your mentality
exactly.
affects your reality. So we
Hmm.
would definitely be about the business of helping to kind of reform our thinking. You've got people who've spent a lifetime in, being educated by the system, and sometimes when it comes to something new and innovative, it's a bit of a challenge to make that switch from what you thought was great for you, only to find out it wasn't as good as you thought it was. So that's what
Hmm.
the Crusaders are here for. Myself, Chris Lopez, John Paul Toth. We're all here to help empower you, to educate you, so that you can live out your most best life now. JP, you got anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, I'm excited to see what the next session's about. I like what he just precluded into leading us to, so I like it.
I want to be amazing. So we
Yeah, I
need
want to be amazing. Exactly.
so we're going to find out about that and much more. Again, make sure you click the like button, okay? That's what helps power this particular channel. And then, of course, become a part of the crusade and share. Click the share and share with all of your friends. Anybody that you love, anyone that you're concerned about, make sure you share this with them, and then subscribe to the channel, because, again, it helps the algorithm, because people are looking for us, but YouTube has designed the algorithm system where if you don't tell them, then it won't recommend it. So make sure you subscribe, share, click the like button. It all works together for a beautiful path that leads to you becoming amazing. Aren't you excited about that? I love that. I love that. Again, I want to thank you, Christopher Lopez, John Paul Toth. Thank you so much for joining us here on Making a Difference. We will definitely see you back here. We have new videos coming up every week, so don't you miss it. But the only way you're not going to miss it is to click the notification button as well. Again, click the like button, click the subscribe, and you will be in the loop. Again, guys, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. We'll do it again next time.
Bye bye. Have a great one.